After months of hard work or maybe even years, the time has finally come. You're soon going to be releasing your game. But there's this one thing missing that you haven't really maybe thought about that much yet, or that in our case you have thought about and you have just been procrastinating it basically for the past half year. That is your trailer. You need a trailer for your game. There's no way around it. A trailer is just so much better at showing your gameplay than just having screenshots on your Steam page. And as I said, we were a major offender of this one because we've been basically saying that, oh, we need a trailer since October 2022, which is like 8 months ago by now. And there are some reasons, I'll get into those as well, as to why we hadn't done it yet, but it's finally time. So this video is going up together with another video on our channel. If you haven't seen that one yet, you can also watch the actual trailer that we made for our game Forge Industry. And then this video serves as an extra basically to talk about how did we make our trailer and what you should keep in mind when you're making your own trailer for your game. So if that's something you're interested in, well, be sure to stick around. And if not, well, you can always just check out our other just regular trailer video. So I'll just quickly repeat, you do need to have a trailer, and ideally you'll even have multiple kinds of trailers. I'll get to that one, but why a trailer? Well, there are certain aspects to your game that you simply can't show through pictures or through your description. So your trailer is probably going to be the most important thing on your Steam page actually, or whatever other platform you're using. The first thing that someone will see is most likely the trailer, because it actually shows them as close as possible what it's gonna be like when they are playing your game. There are multiple kinds of trailers. Maybe you've noticed them before, and I quickly want to go over those. However, not every kind of trailer is really important for us indies. So one of the trailers that you normally make out as early as possible, but that won't be of much use for an indie developer like us, is something like a cinematic trailer or a reveal trailer is also what it's called, where it's more of a mini 2-minute rendered movie where you just showcase the world or you like set the stage of your narrative. But you don't really show any gameplay, you just sell the concept. So for example, you had the Armored Core series 4 months ago at the Game Awards. From Software had their cinematic trailer in which they showcased the world, but none of the real combat. And then the next kind of trailer that you can make, which is the one that you'll probably want to make or basically have to make, is a gameplay trailer. So the difference is that here you actually show your game. Either you show part of your gameplay if you're someone like From Software and you show some pre-rendered video, or it's a full-on gameplay trailer. That's what we did because it's, well, we don't have a full like production studio in our company, where you just showcase how does this game play, how does the gameplay look, how does it feel, and just showcase the key highlights of your game. This is a trailer that everyone should have if you want to make a game. And then one last trailer that you can also make as an indie is your release trailer. So this is different. A gameplay trailer is something you use before the game is out basically, or when you're only now starting with something like early access, for example. Whereas a release trailer, as the name implies, is what you upload on release day or close to release day, like a few days before, in which you showcase every feature of our game. If you have looked at our trailer yet, you'll see that there are some topics that we've talked about in our devlog that we haven't included in the trailer at all because they're simply not done yet. And for a gameplay trailer, we just want to show the core gameplay, which is our resource automation and crafting system, as well as our worlds and our pathfinding. And we left out the harbor and everything because we aren't done with it yet. So the UI isn't there yet, for example, or the implementation. And that's also something that we would put in a release trailer by the time that we get closer to release, and we'll make one of those trailers. And then one last kind of trailer you can make is a teaser trailer, which is basically a mix of a gameplay trailer and a cinematic trailer that is like 15 to 30 seconds long. And you upload that basically the moment you have something. But in general, this also isn't ideal for indies because you're much better off spending some time just working on your game instead of having to craft this whole plot and story and do some cinematic shots and everything like that. So focus on 2 main trailers, gameplay and release trailer. And then you can also have trailers for updates or whatever, but it's basically the same as a release or a gameplay trailer, just for your new features. So now you've decided what kind of trailer you'll be making. Most likely it'll be a gameplay trailer, in which case there are 2 things you need to do. First off is you need to do some research. Set out a block of an hour or maybe even 2 hours and list out all of your competing games basically, or the ones that are similar in genre. And I would advise you to just watch all of their trailers and critique them as well, or critique. Make notes about them. So for us, that's games like Timberborn, Captain of Industry, Rise of Industry, Factorio, Satisfactory, games like that. Look at their trailers, and then once you've watched all of those trailers, you should compile a list basically of what did you like that you saw and that you would like to implement in your own trailer as well. What didn't you like that much, or what is something that now you know that, oh, I shouldn't go for that shot specifically, or something that bored you basically. And then the last category is what can't I do? What is something that you, in the current state of your game, don't have the option for? So for us, in our trailer, you'll see that our camera work is a bit like mediocre at best. Whereas some games, they have like these whole camera track systems basically where they pivot around the world or whatever. But I didn't have the technical know-how for that. And I was also just like, we need to get this trailer out as soon as possible. I'll just figure it out by doing it manually. And once you have those things, you should list a few things. So in my case, for my things to do, what I believe that every trailer should have, these are using at most 3 seconds per clip ideally, so you always have something new going on. Having a 5-ish seconds ending screen where you just have a call to action, so that's basically, oh, sign up for the mailing list or wishlist us on Steam, or something like actually buy us now or play a demo. That's a call to actions, something that whoever is watching this video is like, okay, I should do this right now. And then things you shouldn't do is be boring. I've seen some trailers of like some smaller games, I'm not gonna name them or hate them or whatever, where it was just like half a minute of them playing at normal speed, and it's just so boring and tedious. And it made me realize that, okay, it's very easy to make a bad trailer if you don't look at how you do your music, or if you don't look at how the pacing is of your trailer. And then one other thing that I saw that I didn't really enjoy is just showing a black screen with text to like introduce a feature. So in our case, if I would have to give an example, we're not doing this in our trailer, but we show off pathfinding, for example, with this top-down shot. What these bad trailers would do is they would first have a black screen with just like some text that is like extensive pathfinding, but it's like 2 seconds of just that followed by the gameplay. Whereas if you just show the gameplay, people will usually understand it, especially if it's something relatively easily, like seeing people walk around, what's going on. And then what are some other things that we can't do? In our case, we didn't really have the time or budget to voiceover and to like have a story. Captain of Industry, for example, has this one, and I think Rise of Industry as well, where they have this narrator who's telling basically the story of how the automation game started because you were settling to new land or whatever. And another thing that we couldn't do is show our like end game, because once again, that's more something for a release trailer when everything is finished, and we focused more on a gameplay trailer. So with this list now, let's go and actually make that trailer. So now I'm at my computer, and I'm using Microsoft Loop to write this down. Doesn't really matter what you're using. I wrote down what are the key features I want to implement into my trailer. So do I think is the best thing about my game? In our case, that's pathfinding, because that's what makes us unique as a resource management and automation game, that we don't have static conveyor belts. We have crafting, because we are a crafting game in the end. And we have various worlds, because I think this is something that's really visual as well. So you can really showcase 4 games basically. And it's also just an extra fun thing to have. And then what I did next is, this is more of a storyboarding almost, is what kind of shots do I want? So these are things that you think would look cool in your game, and how would you implement them with the features? So for example, we have our boat sailing out of our harbor. I think this is a very nice shot to like open or close, I feel, because it gives you that sense of exploration or whatever. And it also like advertises the fact that we have this harbor, even though in this gameplay trailer there won't be much coverage of the harbor yet. Then I also have one where the worker walks through all 4 biomes like on one straight road, and then the biomes swap, but the worker stays like centered in the middle, so it's like very seamless. Then just some other stuff, have the day-night cycle of like a time lapse of the sun going around our world, so it gets day, then night, and back day, something like that. And then creating the route, because that's also related to pathfinding, and then just more gameplay of the world basically being built. So now I have the amazing job of basically going to record all of this. So this just means that you're going to be playing your game, and you're going to be playing your game a lot. I don't know, I feel like this is gonna take me a while, but I would suggest you as well is you record everything. So from the moment you start your game now to like start recording your multiple playthroughs and whatever, sometimes you can recreate certain shots, other times you just need to do something. record in as high of a quality as possible. So I have a 4K laptop, so I can record in 4K, even though that your trailer is only going to be 1080p, because that's easier to downsample, and it also gives you more flexibility if you want to like zoom in a bit on certain points. You don't really lose that fidelity. So with that out of the way, what I would suggest you to do now is to just go and record, get a few hours maybe even of footage, or go through the shot list at least. Make more and more shots. So I will start right now by recreating that shot of the boat sailing out of the harbor. I'm not fully sure how I'll do it yet. And then I'll record some takes, and then I'll go on to the next one. I'll have the worker walking through all 4 biomes. This will take some time. There's no way around it, but also use this as an opportunity. If your marketing material isn't that great, I'm gonna be making a lot of worlds today, basically. Take screenshots of like you playing your game, and you're probably gonna be making some pretty decent looking worlds in our case, not just like a single straight line to test some mechanics, but actually put some thought into it. Those things are ideal to also put on something like your Steam page. So basically then you have 2 birds in 1 stone, and you're also playtesting your game to a certain degree. So try not to get too carried away when there's a bug somewhere. I think that's a problem that I'm gonna have if there's a piece of UI that I'm like, ooh, this isn't optimal. I have to stop myself and be like, no, focus on the trailer. I'm gonna go record now, and I'll see you guys once I've recorded, and I'm gonna start editing it all together. So I just recorded a bunch of gameplay footage, and one of those shots, remember, had the harbor shot. I recorded that one now, and if I look at here, you can see it's just a static shot of the boat leaving the harbor with like our workers and our world in the background. And I think this is a very good closing shot. I don't think this has the energy we need for a opening shot. You really want something more energetic there. So what I'm thinking of doing, well, I've already done it here. So I'm using Premiere Pro. You're gonna need a video editor. I use Premiere Pro just because I use it for everything on this YouTube channel. But if this is a one-off thing, just get DaVinci Resolve. It's also really good in editing. There's tons of tutorials for it, and it basically does the same. I'm just more used to this one. And then what I want is, I want this to be my ending screen. So how am I gonna do that? Well, you can see I already put up some stuff here on my layers, but I want this boat basically to keep on going, but to become a bit more blurred so it doesn't take up too much of the attention. And then I want my call to action to appear. So if you play it, you can see, oh, it's getting more blurred now. And then our title of the game appears. That's the most important thing. When are we releasing? Where can you play it? And then lastly, our call to action. You can wishlist us on Steam and or made by Python Games, whatever. And I think if you can see, the boat like continues to go off the screen, and I think that adds still just a little bit of dynamicism. I don't know, something it adds. It makes it feel more alive, basically, compared to having a static screen. Something that, once again, I didn't like when I was looking at some of the other trailers. And this is basically one of the shots. Now, how long should your trailer be? I hadn't really mentioned this. I'm aiming for somewhere between 45 seconds and 1 minute. We don't have much more like unique gameplay, so to say, that I can think of immediately to make it like much longer. Besides, you also have a limited attention span, so we want to capitalize on your TikTok brain as much as possible. Or well, not yours, but the viewer. So that's why. Now there's one more thing that I haven't really mentioned in this video yet that's also very important, and that's your music. Ideally, you have your own music. You have your own artists who can make music, and in this case, we don't, because none of us have skills in making music. So for our game as well, we just had to use some pre-made music, but we tailored it a bit, we edited it, we chopped some stuff up to make it a bit more ours. But the music we have in our game, I don't like it. It's not energetic enough. I want something that is a bit more of an energy, yeah, to really keep you engaged, because our music is more of the calmer background music, something like similar to maybe like a Minecraft. You don't really get hyped from that, whereas we want people to get hyped from this music. So what I did in this case, but if you have a music guy, you just let the music guy make the music, or if you have a banger soundtrack, that works too, is I went over to, so for our YouTube channel, we have a subscription as well to Artlist. This is not sponsored, I don't know, I like it, I guess. It's not the best product, I just use it because I need a lot of music for our background. And then I went through like, what is their like classical fantasy music? And I had made this little list of, okay, these are some songs that I like. So for example, we have this one. And what I like here is that it's like, it has that energy in the beginning. I think all of them have it a bit, so this one as well, I think. Yeah, this also has that energy. That's something that I was really looking for. And I don't know, this has that automation game style almost. Now, In the end, I settled for Spring Awakening. I don't know. The one thing that I would say that you should watch out for is that you need to be licensed if you use Artlist. We have a license that is both for YouTube as well as all other platforms and commercial use, so we can, but you don't have these problems when you make your own music, so ideally make your own music. And then what you have to do is basically go through, put this music in your editor, and then look at all of your shots, cue it up to the music, so when the beat switches, or like when there's a beat, your scene switches, and that's basically it really. We didn't add any fancy overlays and anything like that, so I think, yeah, I'll continue working on it, and then I'll let you know later how it goes. And that's the editing done. Okay, so I have some thoughts. First of all, my brain is like dead right now because I haven't told you this, but this trailer has been edited in basically a single day. So I started when the sun rose, and now we are about 2 hours away from sunset, and we're in the summer, so quite some time spent on the trailer. Don't be like me. The reason I had to brush this now basically is because I just kept postponing the trailer, but there's a reason for it, and that's also what I want to warn you about, and it's a bit of, you know, perfectionism almost. So the problem I have is I want my trailer to look good, and the problem is our game didn't look good. We had like a lot of windows have like some bad UI somewhere, or like one thing that hasn't been tweaked, and it was really hard for me to always be like, okay, I can't record this trailer yet because the game simply isn't beautiful enough for an actual trailer. Because of course, if someone a month from now finds our trailer, and even though we may have completely reworked the UI, which we definitely will have done because the current UI isn't really pretty, I find, or at least not certain UI elements, well, they're gonna think that our game is ugly, even though we've put so much time into actually updating it. So I think the hard part of making a trailer is actually deciding what's the earliest possible time that I can make a trailer and have it look good and look like an actual product instead of just a tech demo. Because you can make a tech demo trailer, but those don't inspire confidence or something, or you just look like the next early access scam. And you want to prevent that. You want to showcase that you have a good product. That's the biggest problem I've had with this. But honestly, looking at the trailer now, I'm really happy with the result, and I almost had this feeling of, you know, finally it's starting to look like we're an actual game developer company because we have this trailer. It looks very nice to just, you know, see your game pop up with the release date, and it makes it feel a bit more real. So one last thing that's left now for me is to just make our thumbnail basically on YouTube, which is just our promo art that we use on like our events and stuff like that, with the words gameplay trailer slapped onto it in Photoshop, and that's it. And apart from that, well, trailer is basically done. I send it over to get reviewed, and there are some parts that aren't like optimal, but that's more of an issue with the state that the game currently is. Like I said, it's not a perfect game yet, and less in terms of the actual content and the trailer itself. So I hope you've learned something throughout this as well. Have you ever made a trailer for your game yet? Did it go well, or did it take a lot of time? Were there some things that you just in the end scrapped it all? I'm curious to hear about you, so leave a comment down below. We're a small indie game studio working on our own game, Forge Industry, for which you can now see the trailer as well, I guess, which is a resource management and automation game. We'll be releasing June 30th, and you can play us for free as a demo on Steam Next Fest. So if that's something you're interested in, then be sure to go ahead into the link down below where you can wishlist it on Steam. And apart from that, we also just make game developer related content, such as this video where we explain, or we talk about some other questions regarding game design, or we vlog our experiences when we go to events, things like that. Just anything really game developer related to teach you anything extra. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, be sure to subscribe and also maybe leave us a like, as it really helps us out and you get this cool content twice a week. That's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!